Hello everyone and welcome to Brontë Mania. In today's video I'd like to take a look at one of Emily Bronte's poems. It's one of my favourite poems by her, which is entitled To Imagination, and it revolves around her feelings towards the imagination and how it helps her lift out of the gloom of some aspects of her life that she experienced. So I'd like to read the first stanza. Here it goes like this. When weary with the long day's care, and earthly change from pain to pain, and lost and ready to despair, thy kind voice calls me back again. O my true friend, I am not lone, while thou canst speak with such a tone. I think this is a tremendous opening to the poem. It revolves around the opening line, when weary with the long day's care. It gets the idea over of all the daily chores she had to go through, but she wanted to have that special feeling which the imagination could give her. So she goes through the earthly change from pain to pain, and she's ready to despair, but then the kind voice of the imagination comes to her, which is really a true friend, which she does not feel alone when she has the imagination calling to her and speaking in such a delightful tone, which allows her to express herself to the fullest, which she did so tremendously well throughout her life. Second stanza, it goes like this. So hopeless is the world without, the world within I doubly prize, thy world where guile and hate and doubt and cold suspicion never rise, where thou and I and liberty have undisputed sovereignty. And that really relates to the hopelessness of the world, all the terrible things that went on around her. But she can really appreciate even more the world, the inside world, the world of the imagination, and she gains extra gratification from that, and it just gives her a good feeling. When she's come across all these other things in her life to do with people being maybe insincere, not really saying what they mean, have all different bad examples of the human condition that she had to face up to. But when she has the imagination calling at her door, there's no sort of feeling of coldness or no cold suspicion. It is all brightness around her. And at the end of this stanza is very telling for Emily, as she truly was, when she talks about where thou and I and liberty, as liberty, a personal freedom, freedom of choice of expression was so important to her. And she was happy to say that has undisputed sovereignty. The third stanza is like this. What matters it that all around danger and guilt and darkness lie, if but within our bosoms bound we hold a bright untroubled sky, warm with 10,000 mingled rays of suns that know no winter days. And this is really saying that as long as you have the imagination to help you out, you can overcome all the difficulties in the world. The danger and guilt and darkness lie, because there were times throughout the Brontes' lives, all three Bronte sisters that lived into adulthood, Emily, Charlotte and Anne, all had to go through their times of depressed spirits, and truly believe their writing was what carried them through from all these dark moments, and it was so important to them. And it's truly these moments did offer bright, untroubled skies. And yeah, it's that last line in the stanza of suns that know no winter days. It's very true that the imagination, how it can provide you with brightness when you most need it. The next stanza reads, reason indeed may oft complain for nature's sad reality, and tell the suffering heart how vain its cherished dreams must always be, and truth may rudely trample down the flowers of fancy newly blown. And this is explaining the aspect of reason, and how she probably was told, oh yeah, you know, the imagination, how important is it? You should be doing all your daily chores and stuff. But the sort of sceptical view of the imagination, but she has no time for that. Imagination offers cherished dreams, and she will not allow these outside influences to affect her, and she will move forward as an artist and prove how great she was. The next stanza runs, but thou art ever there to bring the hovering vision back and breathe new glories o'er the blighted spring, and call a lovelier life from death, and whisper with a voice divine of real words as bright as thine. This is part of this stanza, I believe, harks back to the stanza two stanzas before. She talks about of suns that know no winter days. But in this she's talking about new glories o'er the blighted spring. She's not in winter, she's in spring. She's feeling the flowers in full bloom as she explores her imagination. It's this brightness that it offers her. And it calls a lovelier life from death and whispers with a voice divine. There's very much the imagination calling out to her, and how these real worlds that can offer are as bright as the light. The final stanza goes like this. I trust not to thy phantom bliss, yet still in evening's quiet hour, with never failing thankfulness I welcome thee, benignant power, sure solacer of human cares and sweeter hope when hope despairs. So she doesn't, she says, I trust not to thy phantom bliss. She tries not to become too involved in her imagination, and where it can take her, because it can become too inward seeking, and she has to relate also to the outside world. But still, when it comes to the evening, she is so thankful to find this benignant power come upon her, bringing her solace, and it offers her so much hope for the future, where her life is going. And that's the end of the poem. It is a really quite remarkable poem, and certainly one of my favourites of Emily Brontë. As a writer myself, I always take a lot of comfort from the freedom of the imagination, how it can express things to me, and it's just a positive delight. So that's the end of this video. If you've liked this video and maybe some of my other videos, please feel free to hit the subscribe button so you can be given new notifications when they appear. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Bye for now.